Alright, good morning everybody. I think my problems have all been solved, so let's see how it goes. Definitely haven't had some first world problems yesterday and the day before with my internet. And let's see, I gotta move this. It's tangled. There we go. Yeah, it was weird, just like my upload speeds were terrible, my download speeds were terrible on the internet, and it's causing my streams to crash out, and made the internet just kind of a terrible place to be for a couple of days. I'm on the phone with the lady, and she's like, "Well, let's reset everything." I'm like, okay. Suppose I have a technician coming Monday, which I may cancel if the internet continues to be good. Don't want somebody having to come by and to do nothing. But I did do my study yesterday, even if I wasn't online, so I was happy with those. And I got a bunch of stuff done yesterday, too. So I guess it was good I wasn't really online as much. Way more productive that way, I suppose. You want to buy Bosch a badge? I'm sure he would appreciate that. He had a rough night last night, so he doesn't get bothered by fireworks, but he was having some stomach issues the last couple nights. So he woke me up a couple times, standing up on top of me, looking at me like, "I need to get outside." So we did that. It's pretty miserable. So appreciate that. Maybe my prime badge buyer, super chatter, whatever they call that. We've had a lot. I anticipate tonight's going to be pretty loud too, with the fireworks, 4th of July, etc. I'm sure everyone's getting together to read the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and discuss celebrating our gradual degradation of freedoms, or they're just getting drunk and blowing up stuff. It could be that. I think that's probably more accurate. Huh, weird. Well, I wouldn't worry too much. Appreciate it, though. You know. But, I mean, I appreciate it, but it's not the primary concern. Let's see, up here, there. Good, more people coming in. Feels like a good solid hand. Alright, those ones are kind of incomplete, so I will skip to the next one. Just keep sending it over and over and over again, right? You get a whole paycheck. I mean, I see it on you, right? Got the big heart on you. I have no idea. You know, I just draw here. Here for that, let me show you Bosch. He's over here on the floor. So there's Bosch on the floor. He's sleeping under my foot. So life is much better now that my internet works. Finished penciling a page. Started another one yesterday, so we'll see how that rolls. He's very helpful. So he's had some digestive issues last couple of nights, so he's been waking me up to get out, which I'm grateful for. It's still annoying. I wish we could wait till the morning, but I'd much rather he do that than me finding a surprise in the house or a bad smell. My only complaint though is when we do go out in the middle of the night, he's like, well, how about I come over here and sniff this, and over here and sniff this, and I'm like, how about we go home and go back to sleep because I'm really tired. Oh yeah. One thing that did happen, I don't know if I've mentioned it to you specifically, but I got recommended by another Instagrammer to work with a group that sells online courses. And as a result of the conversations, I've signed a 3-year exclusive with them, which means once we start actively working on selling stuff, I have to close new subs to my teaching site. A lot of benefits. They'll be handling all the advertising and that, but the courses will be sold individually during certain launch periods, which is pretty typical. Actually spotted another artist who's working with them based off of his marketing. He's like, hey, this marketing looks familiar because I've seen the other guy that did recommend me. I saw what they were doing with him. But basically, it means I probably won't be adding any new content beyond a certain point. And then and then I also won't be doing the opening up the subs for it. So, but I'm excited to see what they can do. It's a 3-year exclusive, so at the end of 3 years, I can see kind of what I think. It was supposed to be 5, and I was like, 5's a long time for us to test out a relationship like that. So they did say that if they don't make me a certain amount of money, then within a certain time period, um, then they cancel it. So, well, I think the trick for artists, the trick is often the marketing side of things, because we don't like selling typically. Which, if you have like something that's really great, you should have like no problem, putting it in front of people and saying, "Hey, I like what this is doing. I think it's good for people. I think it's priced okay." And but artists have a hard time doing that because they tend to conflate the commercial activity with something negative, which I don't think they should. It's just the commerce is just people saying, "Hey, we like what you do, and we think it benefits us, and we're willing to give you what you want. We're willing to support you." But a lot of artists treat that as like a bad thing when they shouldn't. Yeah. Well, I mean, this may be different where you're at. But in general, like the most artists, like um, it's like they hate the word capitalism when they usually what they're referring to is corporatism, which is a different thing. It's like special benefits from the government for corporations at the expense of the consumer, which is a whole different thing. But they conflate any kind of business activity with that here, and I just think it's a failure. It's an argument that fails in composition, so it compares things that aren't the same. Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, like I think there's a lot to be said for the artist as entrepreneur. It's one of the things that we're trying to change in my schools department. We've got a really great teacher who's going to be kind of taking over the content of the business class, Sterling Hundley, and he's very much entrepreneurial type. He's been selling courses lately with Proco, but he's always been about kind of developing, clients and business opportunities and all that stuff. He's a really great example, and I kind of want to take his course when he's going to be doing a version of it this fall, and it's going to let a lot of even former students will be able to kind of come and take it. So, oh yeah, so, but that tends to be again where the difficulty most artists have is just like marketing their work. So I always recommend students spend a lot of time getting into that and presenting themselves professionally. It's funny, you'll have these artists saying, "Well, that's very commercial," but then they're trying desperately to sell their work, and I've just always found that to be really, really funny. It's like just, if you want to be like non-commercial work, get a regular job doing something boring, and then make your art, and don't worry about it being sold. Just make it, give it away. I don't know. Well, the thing is, like sometimes especially if you've got like a project you want to do, sometimes it's better just to have like a really boring job. I've talked to my students about that, at school because I had this portfolio prep class, and my point to them was just like, yeah, sometimes it's better to have like a really just boring job where you like the people you're working with. The job doesn't require a lot of thinking, and It allows you to kind of work on your personal development and your own projects without the stress of constantly looking for something new. There's a lot to be said for that. Um, and That's like, that's no small thing. It's like I have a student, she just took a sales job at a real estate company, and I think it'll give her the headspace because she's got a steady paycheck to, develop her projects and work on her skills. And I think it's all perfectly fine. Yeah, cartoony mechs. So yeah, because that way you've got you know what your schedule is, right? You know you've got a paycheck. You know you're not gonna you're not hunting for clients or you're worried about the business going under. You just do your thing, and then you come home on the weekends or in the evenings and work on your projects. I think that can be really, really good for a lot of people. Um, it's like when I first graduated from school, I got this opportunity to start teaching um, right out of school, and it didn't pay. It doesn't pay a lot, that kind of adjunct part-time teaching, but it was enough that I could study with some artists and work on my craft and perfect some, get that teaching experience was really good for me. Um, and then later I was working at this creative studio, and that kind of gave me an open enough schedule that I could study with the local artists I wanted to work with, and that was all really, really good for me. So, let me study with some really good artists, and again, keep developing my craft while also working with some really great people at a creative studio. That work was less steady, but it was still fairly consistent for the year and a half or 2 years I was there, whatever it was. Yeah. So again, you can work on learning more animation and the tools you want. I just see there's like a new 2D. Well, it's not new, but it's newly free 2D animation tool for Unreal Engine. I think it's called Odyssey. Apparently, it was like $1,000 a year to use to license it, but they've made it free as part of Unreal Engine. So that might be worth looking into. I don't know what tools you use, but I'm not an animator. But that could be a really cool tool. Um, yeah, I might look that up. It's supposed to be pretty good. I haven't used it, obviously, because I'm not an animator, and I haven't used Unreal Engine yet. But yeah, something I think worth checking out. Uh, just got kicked out. Uh-oh. Damn commies. Alright. Let's see, 20 minutes in. Let's get these inked up real nice. Let's see if we've got some more time. Rearranged my drawing desk to give myself a little more space, which is always nice to have. It's not done yet? Let's see. Well, I think I had one of those recently. Let's see. One holding a pencil. Let's see. There we go. Let's see. There we go. I don't know. Again, I'm not an animator, so I don't know all the tools. But like I was saying, there is that free one now. It's the Odyssey thing. It's supposed to be pretty good. There's always Blender to a certain degree with what's it called, grease pencil. And the advantage of being able to mix 2 and 3D together inside the program would be nice. I think it was used a lot for not a lot, not a huge amount, but they used it some for Into the Spider-Verse, or the Spider-Verse movies. I call myself a fan of 3D. I'm not an expert in any way. I mostly wanted to create kind of like 3D reference and concepts. I'm not worried about making a Jurassic Park movie or something like that, but be able to build vehicles and environments and maybe do some sculpting and things in there. This guy's holding some kind of voice recorder. But I might check out that Odyssey thing. I mean, I would advise you to check out that Odyssey thing. I haven't used it, but people are pretty excited, I guess, now that it's going to be free as part of Unreal Engine, which is also free to use up to a certain point. I'm sure there's probably like Facebook groups or Reddit groups or something about animation that you could join that would kind of give you better advice too. But yeah, it's like I like to point out to my students, in spite of all the kind of the strangeness of everything in the world, there's more opportunity now to do whatever you want than's ever existed. You can access, you know, you can access all the markets of the world very, very easily, no matter where you live, and that means you have an audience that goes well beyond your own neighborhood. Um, there's advantages and disadvantages to that, but definitely means they're not limited. You've got access to incredible tools that let you do things. Hello, sketches over there on YouTube. Yeah, I was out of commission for a couple days. I had a problem with my internet. It's really weird. Suddenly it's back this morning. I got up this morning, did a little speed test, and everything's fine. I had like zero upload, and it was like, if you look at I think my last stream that's on YouTube, like it's just like totally crunchy, or last few anyway, like it just crashed. I didn't realize that was going on. But everything's fine now. Oh yeah, it's first thing in the morning here. Well, have a good one. Go for that nice little walk. Yeah, I think again, like if there's things you want to do, don't wait. There's no reason to worry too much. Who knows? Maybe you threaten to quit, and then they'll offer you a lot more money. So, yeah, it was really frustrating. I was on the tech support yesterday, and they had me like reset my router. But I have a technician coming Monday, but if the internet's fine today and tomorrow, then I guess I'll cancel that. But I didn't change anything. I didn't do anything. It was just suddenly terrible. The only thing that I could think of was maybe I got throttled. I was uploading or downloading a bunch of, I found a whole bunch of free reference packs on ArtStation. I downloaded those, and then I also uploaded a bunch of them to my Google Drive with the school, because I've got unlimited storage with them. I just thought it would be handy to kind of have them there, and I'm wondering maybe I got throttled with that as a result. So, but everything seems fine now. I don't know. It's just weird. So that's one thing I could think of is maybe I'd overused the thing and there was some kind of throttling happening as a result. I didn't bring that up with the tech people, but good morning, everybody. Yeah. Glad to know the chat's working now. Good morning, people coming in. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. So, first thing. All right. Now for the highlights. Step over that. Super quick. Later. All right, let's get the highlights out. Let's see. Let's see, there we are. Good morning. Getting my highlights on here. There's that hand up there. All right, final one. All right, let's get the date on there and then call it a day. So, call it a morning anyway. Let's see, 5th, right? All right, let's put the ink away, and appreciate everybody that came in, and we will talk at you all later.